Today on
Doomed!
we are going behind the transphobic hate campaigns, on college campuses in Texas. Also, my guest who's here to talk to us about this just happened to run into an old buddy of mine and my pals over at the Majority Report, none other than Steven Crowder. Oh my God, what an effing nightmare, folks. Let's jump right in. We got an action-packed show. Mr. Andy No, friend to all. Pretty much everyone who's ever been on this show just loves Andy so much. Just tweeted out that this show is happening, so I'm assuming he's going to tune in. I guess he's a big fan. Let me introduce my guest at this time right now. Let me pull us up on the screen first. La-da-da-da-da. Here we are. And joining me now, he is always a pleasure to talk to. Been on this show a number of times, always bringing us something interesting, fabulous, entertaining, horrible, horrific, all combined. Steven Monacelli, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And for people who aren't aware of Steven, you can find his work over at the Daily Beast. That's the article I'm going to talk with him about in a bit. He also is the publisher of is it Protein Magazine? Protein Magazine?
Protein Magazine.
Protein Magazine. You know, I really should know how to say a pretty regular, average, like dictionary word, like protein.
Words. What are they, man?
Right. You know, it's the problem when you're someone who interacts with very little people in real life and just reads everything, so you don't know how anything's actually pronounced in real life. That's my life. That's really my life.
It's not a bad problem to have.
So, Steven, first of all, I guess we should shout out all the Andy No fans who are the millions and millions of Andy No fans currently watching the live stream. Not really millions, maybe a few dozen, if even that. But let's jump right in. You, my friend, had quite the experience today, and we should get to that first. And, you know, it is talking about the more broad issue that we're going to be discussing on this program, and the topic of that piece you wrote for the Daily Beast. But let's get to the specific Crowder interaction to begin with. So what happened? Did you know? Where did you run into him? Did you know he was going to be there? I assume so. Give us the lowdown.
Right. So you mentioned I had written a piece for the Daily Beast, which we'll get into in a bit, I'm sure. But one of the subjects of that piece is a group called the Young Conservatives of Texas. They have several chapters across the state at a few different colleges. And so one of these chapters at the University of North Texas, which isn't too far from where I live, invited Steven Crowder. And they had announced cryptically some surprise yesterday. And so they made the announcement this morning, and so did Steven Crowder, that he's coming, and a bunch of people sent it to me pretty quickly. So I was like, oh, I was just really getting started. I was having coffee and I had just walked my dog. And so I said, cancel all of my plans. The circus is in town. And I decided I'd go out there because not only had I been in touch with a number of students there, some who asked me, you know, if I would be there and if I was going to go. But, you know, I had been in touch with them because of this report that I had written, as well as the fact that they have a strong journalism school there. And so some of the students there kind of reach out to me sometimes, and I try to offer mentorship when I can. And at any rate, I get there and there's already a big crowd of people who, a lot of them seemed actually to be like Crowder fans or people who had heard of him and knew about him, but in a non-critical or like positive light. And so he had already been like debating someone, but the environment was very controlled. So it was like he had the mic, there was no loudspeaker, there was a camera recording it, and then it was just, you know, one-on-one interactions. He didn't want to really deal with the crowd or anything like that.
Right, and this is that usual thing he does. What was the the meme that he has out there where it's like change my mind? Well, it's not his meme. Like, people saw him sitting there years ago.
Well, that's what he calls it.
Right,
basically,
right,
it's
right.
Yeah, like his change my mind bit. Right.
And
so,
now people like basically take that one photo and put whatever in front of him, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, cheese doodles are better than Cheetos. Change my mind, shit like that. So what was the exact change my mind Steven Crowder rolled on to campus with today?
Well, the banner, it appears initially it said men should not compete against women in sports. And then I think they realized how false of a premise that was. And so then they put on a piece of tape and wrote on with Sharpie biological, which still remains to be a fairly false premise.
Right. I just love the idea. I saw your photo. Let me just quickly throw this on the screen because it's a beaut. It's a beaut. This photo of what did I do with it? Here it is. Uh, uh, the tape is so beautiful. It's really professional work from Steven Crowder over here that no one thought to add that word originally when they got this they got this printed up, obviously, for everyone looking at the screen right now on YouTube. If you're listening to the podcast, just trust me. This is what we said, and it's exactly what it seems like. Yeah, this is like, I guess it is what it is, right? Sometimes you just got to think on your feet and roll with the punches, right?
That's right. That's right. So that was what he came with today on the heels of the I'm forgetting their name, but the woman who won in a recent swimming event that has transitioned, and they're making a big hubbub about it, despite the fact that I think it was just in the Olympics. There was a male to female woman who was competing in weightlifting and didn't even get in place.
Right. You're talking about Leah Thomas, the swimmer.
Yes, right. And so, just they were following on the heels of not only the controversy that I had written about for the Daily Beast, but this Leah Thomas's, victory in particular, and trying to make this argument that, in their mind, there basically should be genital examinations for all sports.
It's
I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that these, the right has completely become obsessed with this one specific NCAA swimmer who is a transgender woman who is competing. Like you mentioned, trans people have been competing in sports for quite some time now, and we've had a trans person in the Olympics just this past, not the Winter Olympics, the Summer Olympics. And there was actually a big deal made about that at the time. And then when, she didn't come in anywhere near the top, the right dropped the issue. Because again, they don't if it's, it's not really, the issue isn't really trans people in sports. They need to jump on the idea that trans people in sports have this competitive edge where they are going to win. And literally the reason this Leah Thomas one is so big is because this is after years and years and years and years of saying this, and years of transgender women competing against cis women in sports and not having that competitive edge, not like coming in first or second or third and destroying all the competition. This is finally that hypothetical scenario in their eyes come to life. It's taken this long for a transgender woman to finally be competitive against cisgender women in these sports, and they are loving it. They are loving it.
Well, and when you really crack this open and you start to have a debate about this, what I pretty much started with in talking with Mr. Crowder was, what about intersex people? And what about there's a, non-insignificant number of people who are born with both sex characteristics. It's not a binary for them, and they're assigned at birth, oftentimes one or the other. And that's not a choice that they make. They're babies, literally. People are doing surgery on them. There's sometimes hormone treatment. There's all of the same things that they're making this, panic about. But he was like, oh, well, that's fine. They can compete in sports. And I'm like, well, how would you even know? Are you going to ask for there to be a box? And he said, yeah. And we get down this like scary kind of gross road where it's like we're starting to, what do we want to start to essentialize all these genetic things about people? Are we going to just do eugenics in sports? Is that what seems to be the end road here? And quite literally, you know, talk about, oh, you have to pass a physical to compete, as if the physical were about your genitals. And no, it's like the turn your head and cough thing is about whether you have a hernia. It's not whether about you have balls. And there's more than one way to check for a hernia, and it's just nonsense. But they have to essentialize these things and then make them very, you know, binary in order then to otherize these people who, you know, there's all sorts of like Michael Phelps there's articles about Michael Phelps being someone who literally produces less lactic acid and has like a body shape that makes it unfair almost that he's so good at swimming. Are we going to ban him? They literally banned a woman from Africa. I could pull up her name, who produces more testosterone than average from running. And it's like, it's kind of gross. And then when you start to think about what the history of the modern Olympics is and where some of this stuff comes from, you know, it gives me pause. So that's kind of what we were dealing with. And you could play some of the clips from the debate. But, you know, something that was funny, we started off on a funny foot. Where not only did he compliment my outfit, but he presumed that my name was German for some reason.
Monacelli? What?
Yeah. What? And what I said to that was, no, I'm Italian, obviously, but you know, it's funny. Those two countries did have a certain history of politics, but that's not what we're here to talk about.
Let's actually. I know you said that. You know, I listened to the whole. You know, you spoke with him for about 15, 16 minutes, which is quite impressive. You know, not earlier this year, last year, the infamous debate everyone talked about involving Steven Crowder was with Sam Cedar of the Majority Report when Ethan Klein of H3H3 tagged Sam in. And now, you know, everyone talks about that debate, but a debate it really was not, because Steven Crowder ran away from Sam. I guess it's quite easy to do when you're via a live video stream. But when you're physically there like you were, I guess he's caught in a predicament. And I'm assuming he also was. Did he know, like when you came over, did he have an assumption that you were not a ordinary college student? Like you're not what he was expecting? You were
a local journalism student had overheard him kind of walk over to one of the organizers of YCT, Young Conservatives of Texas, and say that I was here because I had gone up and told like one of the producers, like, I'm Stephen Monacelli, and, you know, I'd like to talk to him. Like, what's the line?
So you even told everybody straight up. You didn't like pretend to be a college student. Like you didn't go up there being like, oh yeah, I'm a Steve freshman.
No, I mean, I posted about it. I said my full name, and then he didn't ask me who I was or whether I was a college student. I later, after the debate, found out that he did apparently know who I was, and passed that information along to one of the organizers who I had, you know, mentioned and written about them in the Daily Beast report. So I don't know. Maybe the whole German thing was his attempt at humor, and it just didn't land. I'm not sure.
I'm not even sure what that would be. Like what the joke would be there.
I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe if you still are a hyper nationalist and think that there's like some essentialism in terms of the German people and the Italian. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. Humor's weird. Conservative humor's weird. So maybe I just didn't get it.
Right. Yeah. You weren't on top of the ball there, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know, but he did say that my outfit worked. And, you know, I think you retweeted that photo of him kind of giving my jacket a pinch. That was a strange experience. And around the beginning of that, you know, he said, oh, we're here to have like, you know, one-on-one rational debates, you know, not get overly emotional. And at the end, he called me loudly in front of everybody an asshole.
Let's play the beginning, because I did think the beginning was quite funny, and I know you're worried about the audio, but I listened to the whole thing. It's fantastic. Everyone should check it out. You posted it on your YouTube channel, which is linked on your Twitter page.
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
Yeah, I'll put it in the description here. But let's actually listen to some of it, because it's definitely It's definitely a trip. Again, it's just audio, but let's listen in.
All right. Hey, grab a seat, sir. Do you mind moving in a little bit?
Not at all.
All right, that's okay. We're comfortable with our masculinity. Better.
All right, so you can actually. Oh, you got the mic on the desk.
Oh, there you go. How about that? Your name is Steven?
That's right, Steven.
All right, good. You spell PH or V?
The V.
Same way. Very nice.
That's right.
Four letters means a cool name. Last name?
Monacelli. I'll spell it for you.
Okay.
Monacelli.
So, German.
Italian.
Missed it by that much.
Just a little bit, but both of those countries have a certain history for a certain type of politics. But we're not here to talk about that today.
No, I know. Don't know how I got that one wrong. It's almost like I wasn't even trying. So, Steve. Steven?
I guess that's the joke.
Steven.
He didn't care.
By the way, I like this jacket. Can I?
Thanks. Yeah, go for it.
Is it a raincoat? Or is it just
like a cotton jacket, like, I guess, surplus.
Okay.
Military
Full
surplus.
outfit works. So, Stephen, I don't know how familiar you are at all with what we do with this kind of installment is, but it's basically a way where we can hopefully rationalize our positions on controversial topics. A lot of the times.
All right, so now I could talk to you about the rest, but that was very interesting to see how he started out. Maybe it was to throw you off. I don't know.
Let me pull up what a good friend of mine thought. I'm going to just quote him from the DMs because I sent him that photo and then he listened to it. And so he said, holy fuck, I didn't even realize he touched your jacket. He was trying to fucking pua you, as in pickup artist, like butter you up and throw you off guard.
Right, yeah, that's probably what that was. I mean, someone in the chat says it's called sarcasm, but I mean, when you're sarcastic, there's like a hook there. There's like something there's like a through line that makes sense. Like you're being sarcastic about something that, like, just his sarcasm, if that's what you want to call it, is just to bizarrely say, "Can I touch your jacket?" It's just, I don't understand, but yeah, it probably was just to throw you off.
I mean, I don't know. He was wearing a bomber jacket kind of outfit, so I mean, if he was trying to make some comment about what I was wearing, perhaps pot meets kettle.
Right. So you guys go into it, and why don't you? You already spoke a little bit about it, but what was his argument on this? Because this is basically just. The right doesn't think that trans women should play in sports where they are competing against people who match their gender identity. That's their whole argument, and they believe that it gives these trans women a competitive edge, even though, again, the only as far as I've researched and I've heard about this topic for many, many years on various different college sports, and every time they're worried about some competitive edge where, like, the trans woman ends up coming in like 9th, 10th, 15th, 20th, not even on the lineup page list. It's just, this is the first time that I know of where a trans woman has actually been able to compete with the cisgender woman in that particular sport.
So, I mean, he pulled out some statistics. I don't know where they came from. I think you may have heard them in the audio, like 60% of, like, something about like 60% of sports that transgender, like something about like they win all the time, basically. That was the argument, this competitive advantage argument, which I don't think really, as you said, like bears out with a lot of scrutiny. And then furthermore, it's embedded in like a very, not only, setting gender aside, a sex essentialist mindset of like, there's only two sexes, there's, and that everybody has to fit into one of them. And that, changing, doing anything to change in order to match, your gender expression and quite literally potentially save people's lives in terms of their psychological health. They basically want to say those people aren't women and therefore should not compete with women. I mean, they want to more or less continue to kind of like create buckets for people and then essentialize them in those buckets and say only people can play, with like, basically. And I mean, they bring up arguments of, why do we have male and female sports? And I'm like, well, I think there's a long history of reasons for that, and there's some interesting arguments around that. But their desire, when you kind of get to like what the solution is, it's not really one of inclusion. It's not like they're saying, let's create a sort of, area of sports where anyone can compete against anyone and actually make it about like what's human excellence or whatever, versus, we should continue to create these like subdivisions of people, and we should do these really invasive sort of like, examinations, like borderline Gattaca examinations, in order for you to just compete.
Right. It's not about like you could literally, on that little banner he's got, you could just he's got women's sports in big red letters. But you could just literally
it wasn't Olympic. He didn't even attempt to qualify his statement of like, should it be like these super, super high stakes, money making sports where that's what it's become. He made a very grand, argument of, should it be sports? And I'm like, man, what the fuck are sports about? Like, what is the point of sports? And he said, to win. And I thought to myself, that tells me so much about you.
Yes, that
it tells me about sports.
That says a lot about. I'm sure if you asked a very large percentage, I'm not going to put a number on it, but very large percentage of people with similar ideologies to Steven Crowder, i.e., conservatives, the right, whatever you want to call them, they probably would say the same exact thing.
So I got a couple points on that. I mean, I think that might be true, although I don't know if I would fairly call Steven Crowder a conservative, because I met and talked with some pretty nice, conservative Christian white kids at UNT who like came up to me afterwards and were like, what did you talk to him about? Yada, yada. And when we got down to it, they were like, yeah, systemic racism is real, but they described themselves as conservative. They were like, yeah, I don't have anything against trans people. They were like genuinely kind of like asking these questions. And when we started having a conversation, like we had a lot more in common than they realized. And I was like, what do you think my politics are? And they were like, are you a moderate? And I was like,
and these were college students, right?
What?
These were college students.
Yeah, I guess college students.
Yeah, I think that says something about younger people and just how they view these sort of social issues.
The reason that he was there is because there is a contingent of students at UNT who they call themselves, the Young Conservatives of Texas, but some of them have like self-identified as fascists, and then they try to walk it back and say it was satirical or jokes, but they associate with groypers and like all these other things that are just red flags, to say the least. And that is not conservatism, like by any fair metric. I mean, like perhaps I'm not trying to be a conservatism defender here necessarily. Right. But I think words mean things.
No, I agree.
What I'm saying.
I agree with. I see what you're saying. I disagree on the aspect of that word has sort of been changed.
It's just like libertarian in the United States to your fair point. Like just because I know that it means something somewhere else and would like for people to understand that, it doesn't change that libertarian means one thing here and another thing in France. Right. So,
I would say that those young conservative, quote unquote, college students that you met should probably call themselves something else. That's probably what
I think they're in the midst of figuring out who they are. And, that is cool and good for them.
Right.
But I think, kind of bringing it back, like there was a reason that Crowder was there. It was a group of students who are more like fascistic than they are conservative, frankly. They're little authoritarians. And, when I was talking to these other students who self-identified as conservative, but were like, I don't know about some of this other stuff, I'm like, yeah, like ask yourself, why do you like the music that you like? Why do you like the art or the sports that you like? Just really try to get down to the bedrock. When was the first time you heard something that you liked and you were like, oh, that's my shit, but you've never heard of it before? And why did you like it? And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, guess what? Nobody knows. Congratulations. And what the difference between you and Mr. Crowder is that you're not afraid that somebody else likes something different that you don't necessarily understand why. And that's okay because you don't even understand why you like what you like now, don't you? And they were like, shit, that's true. And so, I don't understand why some of these other people are so afraid about that stuff because like, it's easy to say, oh, they have a biological disadvantage because they're different. But like when you really get down to it, like biological differences and like all this stuff, there's a lot of weird, strange outliers and that present themselves in these high stakes sports, which is why I asked, like, what is sports about to you? We probably have a different view than all those people who think it's about winning. But then I would ask them to remind themselves of like, what about all the friends we made along the way? What about all the good, like, what about the like feelings of camaraderie and just like the times you lost? Right. There was something still to be learned there and gained from it. It's not just about winning, and everybody hates a sore loser. So,
right. I mean, that's what we teach our kids, and it's meant to, it's a social thing. It's supposed to be to, push for a friendly, sort of competitive type of atmosphere. It's not about winning, but it really does say it all that that's what it's about to them.
Well, I'm gonna wear my heart on my sleeve here and say, well, that's what happens when like sports is basically just like fully financialized and becomes a part of like capitalism and becomes a commodity. Then you just do blood sports where people get brain damage that you ignore the research about for as long as possible so that you can keep doing the blood sports. And then you like make it about like competition and like micro nationalism where it's like, fuck whatever city you're from because you have fuck all sports team and I've got cool sports team because I'm from here. And then it's like, okay, cool. Congratulations. You're from Chicago or Dallas or like whatever. And I'm not trying to say that to take away anybody's fun because sports are fun and like have a good time, but just like don't fall into the bullshit antagonistic part of it. At the end of the day, you're supposed to shake hands.
Right. Right. But I mean, as you say this, we should also come back to the issue at hand that Steven Crowder is obviously obsessed with while talking to you. And that is we are talking about women's college swimming. This isn't any of what you just said, really. I mean, I'm sure there is some sort of financial world there.
You mean college
there.
Sports?
Yeah. I don't know about swimming though. But what do I know?
Maybe not women's swimming or it's more like football. Sure.
I mean, I guess that's big in the Olympics, right? But again, the Olympics, a lot of those athletes don't really make that much money. A lot of them I've covered it on this show. A lot of them, except for like the ones playing basketball or whatever the big, or the professional NBA players, professional hockey players, NHL players. They're a lot of times they're like scrounging the bottom of the barrel for cash just to train and live out their dream. There really isn't much money in it.
No, that for those people, that's like a completely different. You're right. That's a completely different category of sports. That's like more wrapped up in this weird nationalism stuff and this like international competition. For some people, it's just purely their passion and they're having to work within a system that they can't control. And that's most of the people who do sports at a competitive level anyway. It is a different thing. But I think, the idea of like women's swimming or like women's sports, it heightens the fear aspect of it. I mean, so much of sports is like people getting sweaty and like rubbing around with each other. And you can't help but like notice the strange association of like this obsession with sex organs and like, an activity that is like really makes you inhabit the body to the point that it gets like eroticized. No, you know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. And I'm bringing that up. I want to say this earlier, but we sort of segued into something else. I see this happen all the time online, and it's amazing to see because for a lot of these conservatives, they think that like, oh, I look at someone, they don't look like how I think a cisgender woman looks. So they're probably, or they must be the trans person. I've seen it in like, there's that photo that goes around of a screenshot of Twitter where it's like two MMA fighters, two women MMA fighters looking at each other in the octagon. One's cisgender, one's trans. And someone says, I can see the trans woman on the left's Adam's apple. And the trans woman actually in the photo replies, "Hey, I'm actually the person on the right. The person on the left is a cisgender woman who I faced." Like
Yeah.
they don't like it. They own themselves because you literally cannot tell, because it's not what they think it is.
This is
Gender
a weird knee
dysphoria,
jerk.
like it's just not what they think it is. And I saw another one where someone posted a picture of Katie Ledecky, a cisgender Olympic swimmer, and someone replied that, "Oh, that man shouldn't be swimming." They thought they were talking about Leah. They thought that was a photo of Leah Thomas. They don't like
It's just
they own
it's
themselves
prejudice.
constantly. Yeah, it's just they want to hate somebody.
It's prejudice. I mean, hey, gay people aren't as scary anymore now that it's, gay marriage is completely legalized, and, the log cabin Republicans maybe won their small victory. Like, so now transgender people are the scare, political wedge. They're the prop in this political drama that they're trying to create a crisis over. And, it's like, it's all this stuff is red herrings, the fear around, trans people in locker rooms and bathrooms, as if that's going to like traumatize, scar, or, in their worst implications, assault sexually other people, as if the majority of sexual assaults aren't implicated or aren't like done by men who know the victim in like not like a stranger in some of these. It's just all these things. They are blown out of proportion, and they like get at people's like deeply seated prejudices that, allow them to believe basically anything, even if the evidence is right in front of them, like you're illustrating. Like, it couldn't get clearer than just like, that's not actually the person that you think it is. And why did you think it was? It's very, it's unsettling. And unfortunately, it animates a lot of people because they don't know someone who's trans, probably.
Right. Again, the issue here is, he went. I'm assuming Steven Crowder specifically went to that college. What is it, UNT, right? Because there has been, ever since a few months ago, there was that anti-trans legislation. It's sort of it's now like sort of spreading all across the country, and I'm sure. I'm going to have some trans activists on this show to discuss the various different legislations going on across the country. And I'm sure a lot of this has been fomenting in each particular state for quite a while. But it does seem, at least this current push, sort of started with that, with Governor Abbott and that anti-trans legislation in Texas, where basically families who have trans children are being investigated by like child protective services because their child is trans.
So the critical race theory panic basically just got segued into this trans student athlete panic. Like, they had kind of initially been a little separate, but they've been able to fold them together with all of the book banning stuff. And then when Governor Abbott and the Attorney General Ken Paxton laid down those issues, it was basically like carte blanche for everyday assholes to terrorize trans people and, inform on people and snitch. I mean, we set the precedent for that with the anti-abortion law that, encouraged people to basically snitch on their fucking neighbors. So, that seems pretty bad to me as a tactic that they continue to come back to. And they have obviously been eager to jump on the actions of these like student groups that are mentored and fostered by some pretty bad types to go and do these outrageous things, because oftentimes, for whatever reasons, college students kind of get treated with kid gloves in the media, except for people like Steven Crowder, who intentionally tried to go and like goad them into saying stupid things. But then whenever someone goes and does something outrageous, like writes some silly op-ed about, people said my argument in class was dumb, I'm being silenced, or, I said trans people don't exist and now people are mad at me and that's fascism. Like, that's happening. And unfortunately, the mainstream media just kind of like runs with the victim narrative that they present because Antifa was mean and scary to me. And so basically what happened at UNT is that this group, which has been spreading hate content for quite some time, in a variety of ways, social media, in-person events, flyers, all these sorts of things. Like, trans people don't exist, quite literally, is something they posted on their official account. They brought a really controversial Republican candidate, Jeff Younger, who basically his whole campaign is wrapped up in the fact that he lost custody of his own trans child because he just denies their existence basically, and will not affirm it and will not provide care, and is now wrapping up his whole campaign and wanting to like criminalize child transitions. And they brought him to campus, and it went pretty predictably because UNT is a pretty liberal campus, to say the least. A bunch of students showed up, and like after he misgendered his own child in front of them, they called him a fascist and said "fuck you." So that went viral.
I actually have that clip. Because it's fantastic. I want to play it. It's so good.
Yeah, play it.
So this is from his appearance at UNT. Let's play this.
Fuck these fascists! 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 Fuck these fascists!
Amazing.
So yeah,
that's a
message.
Loud, unified crowd there. I mean, and not. I mean, I know you said the school is known to be a liberal school, but I think a lot of people probably would not assume that this would be the sort of activism they might see coming out from like a state like Texas necessarily. Who knows?
Yeah. The more you know.
Right.
So
the rainbow, right?
that happens. And it, pretty much devolves into chaos. He gets escorted out with the organizers by police, and they claim that they were terrorized and chased around and yada yada. And eventually they get brought into a police SUV, which tries to speed away and ends up like actually hitting a trans protester on the way out. Really, really just can't make this shit up. And, since then there's been a bunch of stuff that's kind of tumbled out as a result. I wrote that piece. I co-wrote it with Jack Wheatley. He's a researcher based in the Northeast. And he kind of has been following Jason Van Dyke's goings on for quite some time. And we pieced together that Mr. Jason Lee Van Dyke, former Proud Boys lawyer, amongst many other really strange and wild things, which you can just go Google and read about, he was basically kind of providing some support and mentorship to this group. And he had been wrapped up in some previous scandals at UNT as well. So, we wrote about that. We wrote about, their history of posting things like self-identifying as fascists, and, put out that report to kind of try to set the record straight, because unfortunately a lot of people just took the word of, we don't hate them. That's what she said on TV. It's, we don't hate them. That's the difference. They hate us. And I don't know what kind of person would say transgender people don't exist unless they hated transgender people.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, that's what recently caused all this controversy that then obviously Mr. Crowder is like riffing on and was invited to come and stir up more crap in the follow-up.
Who invited him again? I know you said in the beginning, but who invited him again?
The Young Conservatives of Texas, the same group that, myself and Jack wrote about. So it's like a continuation of this pattern. And, they're having another event tomorrow where it's about censorship on college campuses, and they're not allowing any members of the media.
It tracks. I mean, it definitely tracks just with them.
The irony, I would consider getting into like fiction or comedy, but journalism in Texas apparently is about as farcical as it gets. I'm I don't want to actually take that claim because there's a lot of shit going on these days. And it seems like it's a competition constantly with places like Florida and others. But wow, yeah, it's one thing after another. And there's so many just rich, juicy little nuggets that if you don't read the whole article or listen to the whole audio, you might miss them because, Crowder tried to make this red herring out of what percentage of people are born intersex. And it's like, it doesn't matter, actually. Like, the specific percentage doesn't fucking matter. And it's actually currently under some scientific debate around what they have previously considered intersex, and so that number has increased. And he was just trying to deviate around, like, basically this is a small enough group of people that we shouldn't be inclusive to them.
Right. That also sort of goes again. I mean, it's the argument's totally irrelevant. Then
I
that
know.
sort of goes against them. Like the idea then that you care so much and are spending so much time trying to litigate this issue that is not going to affect literally 99.95% of people in this country. Like how many student athletes across the country are there, and how many of them are actually in a league with a transgender person?
That's
Also,
what I asked him,
right.
and he couldn't answer that
Right.
because it's not actually that, like, not only do I fundamentally disagree that the premise is there is even a problem.
Right. The whole premise is dumb, but even in their own, like,
It's not a
yeah.
big problem.
Right. Even in
It's-
their own world. Right.
So
And-
it's absurd.
And notice
It's really-
too that they only have the problem with transgender women competing in sports with cisgender women, but there's never a problem when it's transgender men competing in men's sports, because it's not about that. They can't really win that one. Like
Look,
that's not a
Matt,
cultural war.
Look, a super masculine guy like Crowder, he would never get beaten by a trans man in sport. Like, that's the mindset. That's what they think to themselves, because that's why they don't think it's a problem, because, you know, they don't feel because they're so full of themselves. It's like chauvinism.
Right. And then there's that situation where his name totally, I can't remember right now, but it's a very famous case where this transgender man, college student, was a college like a collegiate wrestler and wanted to compete against men, but the league wouldn't let him because he's a trans man, and forced him to compete against women because that's
Right.
how they viewed him. And he would defeat the other women while, like, sort of at the same time, like, protesting how stupid this is. He doesn't want to face women. He wants to face other men because he's a trans man. He's a man. And conservatives would be so confused by that one, because they jump in and say that person should not be competing against the women. Well, really? That doesn't fit with what you're saying for the other cases. So either you think trans people should compete with their other people who match their gender identity, or you don't. It's not only when you're not happy with how that's going because the trans person is doing really well in whatever sport league that is.
Well, I think the reality is they functionally either don't want them to compete at all, or they think they can get away with arguing, oh, yeah, well, they should compete in this, like, third category or this fourth category, knowing well that that's a bullshit argument, because, like, they're not going to actually support investing in creating like those leagues and all of that stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
So functionally it's the same argument. They basically just, like, don't care and don't want these people to compete. And I think it's just exclusionary.
Right.
At the end of the day. That's how I view it.
Right. The trans wrestler, by the way, is Mac Beggs. And he wanted to compete against other men, and they wouldn't let him because they said he was, you know, his birth certificate said he was a woman, a girl. And they were unhappy with that, when that's exactly what they're the opposite is what they're unhappy with in the case with Leah Thomas. It's like they just don't want trans people involved in anything. They want them shunned from society is really what it's all about.
And it's so strange with the elevation of certain hormones or certain types of things over others. So I'm going to look up the runner that I mentioned. Okay, Caster Semenya.
Right.
So people had, complained that Caster Semenya shouldn't be able to compete. It's unfair. They're winning and winning and winning. let's say they like forced all these tests and they did all this eugenics garbage and elevated testosterone and estrogen as like, these molecules and these hormones above, other functional systems like lactic acid, which is why I mentioned Michael Phelps earlier. You can look at Castor Semenya and you can look at Michael Phelps and you can say, hey, these are interesting people. They're both outliers for like reasons that it's just like natural mutation. And we've got curves of distributions. And sometimes, you end up having someone who not only can produce less lactic acid, but they're like super fucking tall and have like a crazy wingspan. Or you've got someone who can produce more testosterone that's a woman and can run. And frankly, I think it's there's some red flags as to why Castor was singled out and not someone like Michael Phelps.
Right. Well, very obvious ones, yes.
Quite.
Yes.
Quite obvious ones.
Right.
And so that's, why I brought up these edge cases with him to begin with, because it's like you can't just cast this gigantic binary net on things. You're going to literally erase people, and then you're going to put yourself in these stupid contradictory situations where you look ridiculous because you're doing this all for the sake of like having and maintaining an exclusionary system.
Right. Right.
And that's it.
Right. And we broke down basically the Steven Crowder argument in your debate with him, and you mentioned this group that seems to have their fingers wrapped up in everything that's going on. At least, are they? Well, let's actually get to the who's behind it. Tell me a little bit about these twins.
Yes, I forgot to mention that. So Kelly and Jake Nerdert, I don't know. I haven't asked because they didn't really want to talk to me on the phone. Your dilemma earlier, that's a callback. So the whole thing is apparently they both are wrapped up in their YCT chapters at their mutual colleges. One's at UNT, one's at Baylor, and I've been posting a bunch of pretty intolerant things, if not outright Christian fascist things for quite some time now. And they're a part of this, larger group. And it's wild. Yeah, they're twins that are spewing the same anti-trans stuff. Apparently their mom's like a principal somewhere and like has similar views based on some social media posts. Yeah, they have kind of tried to stir things up at their campuses and, try to stretch the Overton window back into the 1950s, if I'm going to quote one of their posts. They're just outright about what they, you got to take their word for it, right?
Right. I mean,
so
what is it? What is it? Oh yeah, these the guys who call, or one of them at least, Kelly, called herself a Christian fascist.
Yeah. This was after they had hosted a guy named Lance Videos, who was invited to AFPAC. Do you remember what that was? The White Nationalist Conference that happens every year.
The America First.
At the same time as CPAC.
Right.
I wrote about it for Rolling Stone.
Nick Fuentes' Groyper convention, right? GroyperCon.
Right, the Groyper convention. So he was like listed on the fucking flyer as a guest at the Groyper convention. So they had invited him in October of 2021, where they were met again with protest. People were chanting, like calling them Christian fascists. And on video, the guy goes, "What's wrong with being a Christian fascist?" It's like, brother, we had a war about it.
Do they even go to these schools? How old are they?
Yeah, they're students. They're students.
They look kind of old.
They go there. You can't say that they don't even go there, unfortunately. They do go there. It's just that they're pretty clearly getting some support and then are being boosted, by some adults who should know better. But they're not as, I don't know. Some of them aren't as willing to say the quiet part out loud as some. Jason Lee Van Dyke, he says it all the fucking time. So like, whatever. That was a pretty, match made in heaven kind of birds of a feather situation when we were able to link that together. And yeah, I mean, they've been pretty relentless about it. I mean, we look back months. I mean, there's been multiple news articles. They pretty successfully created a victim narrative for themselves. They're being mean to us because we're conservative and we don't hate them. But then when you actually look what's going on? This is ugly as hell, and it's just all right there. And
Oh, you ran.
I mean, I
it
was
looks
really
like you ran into
driven
Kelly.
say what?
It looks like you ran into Kelly today at the UNT Crowder event.
Oh yeah, I mean, I didn't
there's
go up to
pic-
talk to her because
Yeah.
she's told me multiple times that she doesn't really want to talk or comment. So I got to respect that.
Right. I mean, the only reason I said that is because I looked up their Twitter accounts, and there she is hanging out with well, not hanging out, standing in front of Crowder. Looks like he didn't even want to talk to her, to be honest.
They're there to basically get on Fox News or something like that. That's kind of what I've gathered, and to help create the next outrage bait to feed into the broader panic narrative that's clearly being pushed full force, at least in the state of Texas, if not all over the country. It feels a lot like, almost 10 years ago, actually really around 10 years ago-ish, maybe a little more than that, where, gay marriage was getting criminalized getting banned and shit all across the country. It kind of feels like that all over again.
I mean, the arguments are exactly the same. Like, I think that's something that's not really even, like, think about before, think about like, late 90s and more so to the 2000s, and then even early 2010s in some states. Like, the argument, it was that, like, oh, you let gay people marry, people can be marrying dogs. What's next? I don't know if maybe it's different in Texas. Has there been an uptick in people marrying their pets? As far as I know, no, there's been none of that. Like, all of the warnings and, oh, it's going to, desecrate the sacred bond of marriage, and divorce rates, as far as I know, have been unaffected by gay marriage. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, divorce rates, when you count same-sex couples, I wouldn't be surprised if divorce rates have actually lowered.
Yeah, I mean, shit. A lot of the same shit is coming back. I mean, in particular, I've seen Jake, the brother of the two fraternal twins, post stuff about how he, like, opposes gay marriage even, and, like, he thinks the Republican Party supporting that is, like, gone too far, and, like, supporting he like David Rubin or something, like some conservative figure. He had retweeted something about, like, oh, this is so wrong, like, to, like, let these two gay men rent out a woman's, like, ovaries. I'm like,
which would be, I
brother.
mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Ruben said that, but it'd be interesting for Ruben as well, because he himself
no. So that was Jake's comment on, like, Ruben's like a gay marriage, like, they're married and he's gay and he's a Republican and they're, like, gonna have a kid soon through a surrogate, and so Jake was, like, saying that he was, like, disgusted by that, and, like, that's so, like, morally fucked up, which is really just regressive, just really, really regressive mindset. And there's, like, young people who are championing this. And I think this gets back to my previous point. It's like, there's some of them are saying that the loudest because and some of the most egregious things the loudest because they kind of, like, don't get criticized in the same way that adults would, even though they're fucking 18 and can vote and smoke cigarettes. They're, and no one's trying to, like, I'm not trying to go and, like, force non-media trained students to, like, say things on a video camera and make them look stupid. But that sure seems to be what Crowder's doing, because he wants to debate people who, like, maybe they're still trying to figure out what their views are. And that's kind of why they're in school. Right. I don't know. And it doesn't seem like he's really interested in, like, he ran away from Sam. He's not really as interested in debating people who might be on a level playing field with him. And I mean, he didn't run away from me. I got up because he started saying things like, well, women don't want to compete against trans women. And I'm like, how about you talk to a woman, like, and not just tell me what these people think, because that's pretty audacious of you. And you really have no reason to, like, that. Once you start to get into that, you've kind of lost your argument. Somebody else said,
right.
And so I walked away from that because I was like, look, man, now you're just trying to speak for other groups of people. And like, that's not a very good argument. And how about you just go talk to one of them and see what they have to say, instead of, like, us doing this fucking two white guys debating trans issues shtick And
I'm sure there were a lot of women right there wanting to debate him on
and he
on
turned
campus.
one away who wanted to debate him. He turned a female presenting person away, and because like for whatever reason he didn't want to talk to them. They were screening people out, like trying to see what they wanted to talk about. Obviously, it was a pretty controlled environment. I guess I just said the right magic words. Maybe he wanted to try and make me look stupid if he knew who I was. I don't know. But I mean, at the end of it, what really got under his skin was I said, because he was trying to say, oh yeah, all you did was bring up bogus sources and fake statistics. I'm like, okay, man, have fun making your career trying to talk to college students who want nothing to do with you. And that's when he said to stop being such an asshole all the time, very loudly so that everybody could hear it. And I was just like laughing inside because, apparently we were supposed to have a debate to rationalize our views on a controversial opinion without having an emotional response. And, it's just you can listen to the audio for yourself and decide.
I heard him say, maybe we should play that ending part right there. Let's take a listen. I'll play the last minute. Let me just fast forward here. All right, let's do this.
And let people compete and create structures for competing that aren't so goddamn politicized. How about that?
Okay, great. So women should just shut up and take it. They're taking it too seriously. Women are taking it too seriously.
I think you're taking it too seriously.
No, I gotta pause there actually, because that's amazing coming from him, Mr. Rape Joke, all the time with the rape jokes on his show, and he's trying to say how dare you, and compare it to that. But okay, let's continue. I just had to stop it there to say that.
Saying women out there are taking it too seriously.
Talk to a woman. There's plenty of women here. Talk to a woman.
I have. I've spoken with many women.
What did she say?
There's also
what did they say?
Data. They of course don't want biological males to compete in women's sports.
All right, so I'm going to now. Is there a woman who would like to speak to him? Is there a woman who would like to speak to him?
Particularly a female athlete.
Any female athletes? Any women?
Female athlete.
All right, cool. Hey, it's been nice, Steve.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
I appreciate it.
I don't know. And
So no solution, no dog in the fight, just wrong sources. Every other conversation's been very productive.
I'd say, have fun making it your career to go talk to college students who don't want to talk to you.
Don't be an asshole your whole life.
You said don't be an asshole your whole life. Look at an asshole talking.
Wow. It's not surprising, but it's I think you might be one of the rare individuals in this line of work who actually got to sit down and spar in the Coliseum of Ideas. I'm trying to think of a new one other than the marketplace of ideas.
The marketplace of ideas today was booming.
Right.
We are investing in ideas.
I was trying to wrap in some sort of sport with try make my own, but not as good as the marketplace, I guess. But,
Look. I mean, it's not a big deal who wins and loses in debates, right? I mean, it's about the friends that we make along the way.
Right. And that's what sports should be about too.
I mean, sure as hell. I made some good friends afterwards who, they definitely initially thought they were more in line with what Mr. Crowder thought, but we had a great chat afterwards. They seemed to be in agreement that, maybe what he was putting down isn't so tolerant and so nice and isn't, really what he would like to present. Because, the first minute there, I'll give it to him. He sounded pretty dang, if you saw 60 seconds of that, your dad might go, this guy's got some, he might have something to say, right? But when pressed, things get a little squishier, I think.
Right. Well, Stephen, is there any other notes you want to share from that debate that we didn't touch, or you think we hit it all?
I think we hit some of the main parts. I was able to bring a callback back to the initial, joke about Germany and Italy being fascist. Because, when he brought up what sports being about winning, I was like, man, what is even the Olympics about? People don't have historical context for why we do things and what is genealogy and all of that. And reading books is good, folks. Don't be afraid if you can't, pronounce all the words right the first time. You have no idea how I pronounced the main female protagonist's name from Harry Potter in my head before I saw the movies. And all those movies and books suck, though, so don't even bother reading it or learning how to pronounce it. It's fine.
Right.
Speaking of transphobic people,
right? Yes, that's
there we go.
That's where you were going there, but apparently they just happened to be.
That's my final note. Thanks for having me, and check out the show notes and stuff. Follow me on Twitter if you enjoyed what you saw tonight. Maybe I'll get into some more debates after this. Who knows?
Ooh. Any other conservative personalities making their career, going to college campuses and just telling people who are about how old Steven Crowder now? Probably in his 40s.
Look, man, I'm not trying to get on the lathe of heaven tonight and speak something into existence. Let's just put it there. Don't do this to me. Don't put that on me.
So what do you got coming up? Anything we should know about? Any scoops you want to share? Hint at?
I should not. Maybe some good stuff. Yeah. Some obviously similar veins. Extremism. Maybe some January 6th stuff. Which should be fun. Right. So always, and if you're in the Dallas area or in Texas, obviously follow me for that kind of stuff too, because I'm always looking into things in the area as well, because a lot of this shit keeps happening around here.
It's interesting. It certainly is. Basically what I'm getting out of your little promotional stuff for what's down the pipeline is that you are going to likely be on the show again in the near future.
We'll see. You can always shoot me a message.
Steven Monacelli, everybody, thank you so much for joining me. It is always a pleasure when you're on this show. Like I said, horrific, terrible, fun, funny. There's a lot of ways, and I feel like I feel like the best way to cover someone like Steven Crowder, because it's important, I think, for people to talk about him. He is a major player. He's the biggest political YouTuber, I think, not even just conservative YouTuber. He's the biggest political YouTuber. The best way to talk about him is to let everyone know what shit he's spewing and also make it clear that he's a very unserious guy. And I don't mean that his brand of ideology or rhetoric isn't dangerous. Oh, it very much is. What I'm saying is his line of thinking, his thought process, his intellectualism. Not very serious guy. So I think that's where you gotta make a mockery of someone like that to really, put a stain on their horribleness, I guess you could say.
Hey, you don't want to try and dress up a farce. A farce is a farce. Right. It is what it is.
All right. Have a great night, Steven. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
Take care. Bloop, bloop on the Skype. All right, folks, we are going to go to the second half of the show where I will take your calls. You can call in to the various conservatives who are in this chat because Andy No mentioned it, the live stream about an hour ago. You can call into the show. Open up Skype, download Skype, type in Doomed Live, search. That's the username you're looking for, Doomed Live. Call in. There's no what's it called? It's a screener process. You're not gonna. Someone on the other side of the line isn't gonna be like, "Hey, what would you like to talk about?" And you're gonna say you're a conservative or a right winger, and they're gonna say, "Oh no, we don't want you on." No, it's none of that. You call in. It's a come as they first come first serve, I should say. And whoever calls me first, that's the call I take. And then when that call hangs up, whoever calls me first, that's who I take. And we go straight live. I'll talk about anything. So that is Skype, Doomed Live. So let me do a little bit of promos, and then we'll do just that. Folks, youtube.com/MattBinder. If you're listening to the podcast, you should subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube and you're not subscribed, you should subscribe. If you're watching over on Twitch, you should subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you would like to support this show, patreon.com/MattBinder. It supports everything I do. This show, my cryptocurrency show, which, if you're not aware, is critical of crypto, scam economy, everything I do. That's how you can support me. Patreon.com/MattBinder. Let me give a quick shout out to the people who've become patrons since the last time I did an episode of Doomed. I did skip Doomed last week because I needed the extra time for the episode of Scam Economy. It was a deep dive into the different ways the crypto world was using Ukraine to basically pump their coin and grift and get good PR. Definitely check that out, scameconomy.com. It's also on this very YouTube channel. Again, youtube.com/MattBinder. And those patrons are Venus Bloodflow, Drew, David V, Brandon, Sleep Zerker, Scott WJ, Dylan, Adrian L, and Bill T. Thank you so much for supporting this show or Scam Economy or both shows or neither. Maybe you just wanted to thank me for my wonderful tweets or something. I don't know, but thank you. Can't do it without my patrons. Really can't do the show or the other show or anything without my patrons. If you'd like to, if you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, you get a free Twitch Prime subscription every month, which means for no extra cost other than your base Amazon Prime fee, you can pay me and it doesn't cost you anything. Go to twitch.tv/MattBinder, subscribe to the channel using your Twitch Prime subscription, and you basically stick your dirty little fingers inside of Jeff Bezos's $10,000 pants. You whip out his wallet. You extract some cash from it. You bring it on over to me, and you stick that money inside my wallet, and then you put that wallet back in my pants, and you tap the wallet, I guess, which means you'd be tapping my butt. And we're friends now. That's just how it goes, right? Twitch, I don't know where I went with that. Twitch.tv/MattBinder. Thank you so much. At MattBinder on Twitter. Doomedcast.com for everywhere you can find this show. Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Oh, leave a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify for Doomed, please. Please, if you can. Also, leave a review for Scam Economy if you can. I'd appreciate it. What else? That's it. Let's now go to the second half of the show as the chat is now falling over themselves over my Jeff Bezos pants wallet me analogy. Thank you so much, everybody. Let's go to it right now. I'm going to take a short, literally 10-second break just so I can take a quick breath, and then we will, super chats. You can leave super chats here on YouTube, by the way, youtube.com/MattBinder. Leave a super chat. That's a great way to do a one-off donation. I will read the super chats. If you leave one, that's the way to get 100% your comment read. Let's do it. Let's go to the second half of the show where I'll take calls. See you in just a moment, folks. All right, we are back, and everyone is still having a great time over my. Let me. I forgot to sign into Skype. Give me a second. Everyone's having a great time over my Jeff Bezos scenario. They're really enjoying the visuals I gave you. Welcome to the second half, butt tappers. That was me unfiltered off the cuff. Let's I guess I should thank the Twitch the most recent Twitch people after that. How do I not, right? Let me go over to I'm looking at the comments right now. Egalitarian, thank you for joining the Twitch, for subscribing via Twitch Prime. Cathage, thank you. Corn Pop for Prez, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, the phone lines are now open. Let's I got some audio too, by the way, that we can jump into. Let's do that. What should I play first? What should I play first? Do you want to hear some do you want to hear, where is it first of all? Oh, this was. Oh, well, let's take this phone call first. Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from?
All right, let me. Since the speaker's on now, tell me something.
I still hear myself. Oh, there you are. Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Actually, I don't want the video on.
Don't worry, I
whatever.
won't pull you up. You're not. No one can see you. Don't worry about it.
Good. It's Grim.
Hey, Grim. How are you? What would you like to talk about?
One, I just had a little joke just while I was listening to that lovely conversation. That honestly, I thought my blood pressure was gonna go through the roof because it's just really terrible out there, ain't it? But there is one place where everyone is equal, and that's in the pilot seat of a battle mech. And clearly, we just need to get rid of sports and replace them all with gladiatorial combat between giant robots.
I guess that's the world we need to live in but they'll find a way. They'll get angry that the robot isn't masculine enough, or that the pilot of the robot, like the main pilot, like the one controlling like the arms or something, is, if it's a really big like Megatron type thing, they're gonna get mad that the main pilot's trans, or I don't know what their current issue. They're gonna claim that they're being censored because they always control just like the right foot or something. I don't know.
Isn't it funny though how people who claim censorship always like to then turn around and censor other people? Isn't that funny? But speaking of people who shouldn't be censored, I wanted to mainly call in to support something Zoe was requesting, which was having Emmy Bevancy back on.
Yes, I have to have Emmy back on. I think you said it last time I spoke with you.
Maybe I mentioned on the Discord, but I know they've been through some very difficult times lately, and I understand why they probably couldn't be on in any sort of manner too soon. But definitely, if there's anyone who can talk about how people's defection around the war in Syria presages a lot of positions that the sort of class reductionist inclined have been taking during Russia's war of conquest. There's a through line there. It's the same sort of people who I didn't even really appreciate it as much as I should have at the time. That people weren't really backing Assad because they really thought that Assad was a good guy. They were backing Putin, and he had taken that. He had taken Assad's side.
Right.
And so it was. I mean, it is the exact sort of stuff that is in like 1984. It's just sort of like great power imperialism, and that didn't end up so good for most of the world. So this sort of like facile anti-imperialism that says U.S. bad is not good. Right. We should be striving for neither Washington nor Moscow.
Right. I mean, I don't really, I wanted to do an episode on this. It's only so many, like, things are moving so fast right now. There's so many things going on in the world. And I've been unable to keep up with all the episode topics I wanted to do. And it is amazing to me. I mean, I've discussed it somewhat, and I did have an episode with Yegor Kukin, who is a Russian socialist, and we spoke about a lot of the issues there. It's bizarre that people are really just showing their whole ass, really. I guess that's the best way to put it. Like, I mean, there are people who I felt were, maybe we don't agree on everything, but were pretty much on the same wavelength of the ideological spectrum. And now it's becoming quite clear that there's a number of people who I don't think we can really. I'm not saying I wouldn't talk with them on this show as like a debate, but I would not have them on this show to discuss like a nice, friendly, like, oh, tell me about your work. Like there's it's bizarre how some people have just completely changed over this. And I mean, that's who they always were, I guess. But I guess they just didn't need to show it, so you just didn't know.
Cases, it was. Again, in a lot, well, not in some cases, in a lot of cases, it was something that happened about a decade ago when a lot of these people did have different positions before the conflict in Syria, and then they had different ones afterwards. And I mean, this is why I say that they're the anti-left, because they're people who are so mad about what they saw as the left for all these years that I would suspect in most cases that left them susceptible to being on the take from foreign money.
Right. I mean, yeah. I think it's so bizarre that they're still, and I'm saying there because I don't want to specifically talk about any individual because they don't really matter. I don't care about any individual person who holds this sort of point of view of anti-imperialism, except when Russia's doing it apparently, or just anti-American imperialism.
What I like to say is it's an alter imperialism.
Right. All right. Alt imperialism. Right. Yeah.
Or alter.
Oh, alter. But alt actually would work.
That would also work. It would be a little more obvious.
Right.
I want it to be not as obvious, and it is basically just the alt-right, but more complicated.
Right. I mean, it's bizarre to me because their talking points aren't even the ones that Putin is pushing. You know what I mean? Like they're still.
Well, that's the funny thing about like the biolabs thing that originally.
No, I'm talking about the reason for the Well, I guess that's part of it now, the biolabs thing. But I mean, the original reason from the alt imperialist viewpoint was NATO, right? And Putin's out there, denazification. Not saying NATO at all. Like not even pretending, not even like using that. It seems like a tee up, right? Like whatever the.
Well, I mean, there's a historical reason for that. It's he wants to make this a parallel to when the Soviets were part of not the Axis but the Allies, and when they were denazifying Europe, which was also a pretext for the expansion of the USSR.
Right.
So there's always been this twinning of like red imperialism.
Right, but Ukraine was USSR then. I mean, they weren't like. It's not like he could use. Like, I think that's even a weird thing because he's using it against a country that was the USSR.
Well, I mean, they're not now.
I mean, obviously, but I mean, if you're going to use that historical context, I mean, if Putin was like invading, I don't know, like Germany or literally any country that Hitler.
Well, there was some Nazi presence in the Ukraine.
Right.
But,
I mean, right, but you could say that about America as well. That we had a little Nazi party here in terms of
like German troops there. And maybe they got that far, whatever. I don't know. I don't know the whole story offhand, so can't like totally speak to it.
But
it's just of a part of this attempt to restore the glory of Russian imperialism. And there actually was a moment in one of his
wait, who's
press
his now? Who you talking about now? You're talking about Putin, okay.
About Putin and about how Lenin shouldn't have given away autonomy to like certain Soviets and other states.
I mean his entire early press conference was totally 100% anti what those people claim their ideological stance is. It was Hitler is no fan of Lenin. I mean, he also even criticized Stalin a bit.
Hilarious.
There. He also criticized Stalin a bit there. I mean, not as full-throatedly as his anti-Leninism is, but yeah, I mean, the idea that like Putin is continuing. I mean, the guest from Russia, Yegor, he was as specific as he could be. He said like one of the main reasons he wanted to come on the show too was to completely break that viewpoint that Putin is trying to get the USSR back together when it couldn't be further from the truth by Putin's own words.
He is trying to rebuild something. It's the Russian Empire.
Yes, that's what Yegor said, right?
Yep. There is a history there. That's the really scary thing is that it is in some ways it echoes instead the campaign of Nazi Germany to spread conquest in Europe more than it does parallel any sort of denazification.
Right.
So,
but we should also say that this group of people is actually, I think they might even be smaller now than they were when this all started a month ago.
I have no idea. I hope so. That would be really great.
I've seen a lot less of them. They are mostly online. I haven't seen so much. I mean, I'm sure the shows exist, but I haven't seen so much of this spreading into like
I have
popular
heard
YouTube left channels, like BreadTube channels or leftist channels, even further. Maybe you could find it on like the Door Right channels, the Combo Couches, the I don't know, all those people. I'm sure they're pushing that, but I guess Jackson Hole.
But ignoring for
Jackson
a second just the performers though. Like there's no worse, like in the worst sense, wrecker than an internet Stalinist who can't like who thinks that it's more important to like even disrupt fairly weak progressive actions because what else are they gonna do?
Right.
Like it does it consider the optics of your behavior. Like there was I can't even think of them. It was some Caleb Maupin related group. Like
I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name either. I know exactly what you're talking about though. They had that event where they're holding up like the flag of Russia and the flag of the U.S.
Yeah, but like there's like a weird carving of Lincoln in the back, and they're showing the imperialist flag of Russia, but it's like I think it was it was maybe one of the flags of one of the People's Republics,
right?
The DPR, the LPR.
Yeah, lame ass shit. But yeah, thanks so much for the call. Always a pleasure. Very interesting topic. I want to try to, I guess, keep the calls moving a little bit faster than you. I mean, we already spoke for almost 15 minutes. It looks like, but I have a few clips I want to play.
And say call and bring Emmy on. That was all I really had to say.
All right, cool.
So thank you for the time.
All right, no, thank you. Always a pleasure.
Yep.
All right, I'll take a few more calls. No super chats. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, Matt. No super chats for you today. Oh, here we go. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it is Kowalski.
Hey, Kowalski. Whoa, you're really big on my screen right now. I'm not sure what happened. One second. Let me pull you up on the... There we go. There you are. Oh, you have a very clear... Are you in a very well-lit place?
Yeah, I'm at the gym in the studio room, so...
okay.
Pretty bright.
What would you like to talk about, my friend?
I wanted to know if you got my T-shirt yet, or I guess it's your T-shirt.
I did. It's in the other room right now. I meant to bring it to show on the show.
Does it fit?
I actually did not get a chance to try it on yet. I just got it the other day.
All right.
I promise you. Are you coming to? I just realized I haven't told anybody this yet, but I will be.
No, I won't be going to the Brooklyn show.
Okay. Just asking. Just asking. It's all right.
Couldn't swing it this time of year.
All right. No problem. Oh, you were going to the Massachusetts show, right? That was the one you were going to, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got them confused. For some reason, I thought you were, because this one is now happening before the Mass one that was supposed to happen at the beginning of the year, and I got it all confused. I was like, oh, I'm gonna actually bring the shirt and show Kowalski I got it.
Well, thankfully now that the other one's in route, Brandon should be getting his pretty soon.
There you go.
That's good. But I wanted to just compliment you again on your really good coverage of all of this trans stuff. I only know like one person who's trans guy, pretty decent dude. I just don't understand why people can't just let people be. I mean, we're consenting adults. I just don't
Yeah,
get it.
I mean, it's exactly. I mean, that's really the crux of it. I mean, they're people. We're all just people, and there's asshole people and good people,
Yeah.
and they come in all shapes and sizes and types, and yeah. But conservatives need something to, it's just anger at the world, and
Well, it's
they
like
need a
they always
scapegoat.
just need somebody to punch down
Yeah,
on.
and
But
it's quite frankly the easiest group for them to punch down on because they are such a uh, small minority group in the big picture. Like we're literally talking. I forgot. It's like I don't even think it's like a single. It's a whole digit percentage of the population. And this is what they've decided to go nuts over.
see,
And I'm
that's
saying
kind
that
of
in
what
terms
I
of like,
wanted to ask you a question about, if you don't mind, and I'll probably hop off because
yeah,
this is
sure.
like just to hear your answer on it. But so when it came to Jim Crow, we overturned those because black people made up over 13% of the population. It was pretty evident that it was a terrible thing to do. But with trans folks, I feel like they're such a small part of the population that I just don't think that a lot of people would get behind overturning all of this stuff. Like the women's issues right now, like I honestly think that conservatives might have like 5 years of free reign, and then they're just going to start losing every election. So like, what do you think long term on the trans stuff? Because like, I just even a lot of people on the left just seem to like be apathetic to it.
Well, because they view it, they're
So
taking they're taking the bait that it's a culture war issue, and it's not. It's not at
no,
all.
it's a
It's a
human
human
rights
rights
issue.
issue. Yeah, it's a human
Yeah.
rights issue. Exactly, jinx. But it's a human
Damn.
rights
Oh yeah.
issue.
So
It's because again, they're not in like in every one of these scenarios, they're not asking for any sort of special treatment. Just like how it was with gay rights, just how it was with women's rights, just how it was with the civil rights movement. It's just a group of people asking to be treated how everybody else is being treated. They want the same exact rights. And
whoa, whoa, man. I mean, look, I've got my privilege to protect here. I
all
mean,
right,
I've checked a lot of boxes, and that's given me quite a leg up. Do I really want to lose that?
right, right, and like, and even like the trans stuff, like I like trans people, even like from my experience, they I mean, just I have a number of trans listeners of this show, and like the trans issues aren't even like they don't want it to be a thing because it's not even like they're just literally trying. They just want to be put in the same category as how they identify. It's that simple. Like it's the simplest thing in the world. They're literally telling you, "This is how I identify. Just call me by that. That's or just treat me like that, and that's it." They don't even want any like. It's just the simplest
It's
thing in
just
the
showing
world.
basic
Yeah,
respect.
yeah, exactly. It's just basic respect, and it doesn't even hurt you in any way. It doesn't bother you in any way. Just like again, just like gay rights, just like women's rights, just like the civil rights movement. It's literally
Yeah, if
just
you're a consenting adult, what does it matter?
right,
It's rational
right,
people choosing to do something that does not affect anyone else. The
right.
fact that libertarians don't defend this just shows that they're hypocrites that just want the government out of their way so they can do drugs and other devious things online. So,
Right.
but
But it's
I'll
an
let
easy.
you go.
One thing
Hopefully,
though.
you get one of those. Oh, go ahead.
One thing though is that this is for them an easy. I don't want to say win, but it is an easy battle for them to fight right now, because I do feel like, and I think you said it when you said like the 5 year, where like they're like 5 years of this or whatever they'll have, but it is like this is an issue where the rest.
No, I said 5 years when it came to like women's issues. I don't see it happening now with trans stuff was my concern, just because they don't make up a large part of the population. It just seems like a lot of
Right.
people are.
A lot of people don't know. Right, and a lot of people don't know a trans person. They are buying into all of these bullshit right wing fear campaigns that like there's just a horde of trans people trying to make sure your children lose all of their school sports. I mean, it's just bizarre, and they are gonna continue this battle because it is easy, but eventually it will be the same thing as as gay rights and women's rights and civil rights, where there are still people, but who are against it, but the vast majority of people.
Sorry to cut you off, but it's about to get loud in here, and I gotta go.
All right,
Have a good
take
one.
care. Always a pleasure when Kowalski calls in, but yeah, it's just it's just another more bullshit from them, I disappeared. There I am. Let's Tony with a great point. A lot of people don't know they know a trans person. Thank you. It couldn't be a more perfect way to put it. And I didn't. Oh, let me take this call. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Zoe from Montreal.
Hey, Zoe. How are you? What would you like to talk about?
I'm all right. I just wanted to mention about what Grimm said about the Callum whatever thing. The flag they had was the Donetsk People's Republic.
Right.
And I'm a bit of a vexillologist, so I wanted credit for pointing that out to Grimm in the first place.
There you go. You get it.
So yeah. I mean, yeah, that's basically it. They're garbage, they're fash, they're whatever.
Right. Right, yeah. Thanks for calling in, Zoe, and getting that little win off over Grimm. It's very important to get those in when you can,
Hell yeah.
Thanks for the call, Zoe.
No
do you got a French word for me?
What? A French word? Damn. Fuck. Okay.
Just literally just bring up
I know. Calice.
What's the word you said today? What is it?
Calice.
Garius?
It means chalice, but
chalice. Oh, that's well. Thank you for
thank you for
that
swear word. It's very Quebecois.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's why.
Well, thank you for if you're ever teaching someone French lessons, just a little word of advice. I guess that's not really one of the more important ones to teach right up front like that.
if you want to teach someone Quebecois, you'd need to go through the swear words. Calice, tabarnak, esti, baptême.
Oh wait, Critical Revolt's got a great question for you, actually, Zoe. How do you say doomed in French?
What is doomed in French? It's.
Have you been lying to me this whole time? You're not really a French person.
No, it's a weird word.
You've been lying. You're really holed up in some
condamné.
You're really holed up in some podunk town in Minnesota, aren't you?
Yeah, that's my accent. It's all fake.
Unbelievable. Any minute now, you're gonna break through the fake accent. You're like, yeah, that's true, don't you know? It's just exactly I'm from Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm from Minnesota. Hey. That's not it. I know.
That's not it. And the A is also a Canadian thing, so.
Yeah. Hey, I was right.
Thanks for the call, Zoe. Always a pleasure. Have a great night.
I got it. It's condamné.
Oh, condamné?
Yeah, condamné. It's the same as condemned.
I like that one because I get to do my little. I go condamné. Condamné.
Yes, exactly.
Condamné. Thank you so much, Zoe.
God, no problem.
Have a great night. All right. Should I get to those clips or are there more callers? Oh, we got some super chats. Let's get to the super chats. But back to Tony's point, most people don't know they know a trans person. Absolutely. Absolutely. And this episode, while obviously the point of it is the trans hate and talking about the trans bill, it let me we got another call. 1 second. I don't want to lose people. Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey Matt, this is Dr. Gus. How's it going?
Hey, Dr. Gus. What would you like to talk about?
I was just calling just since now with this whole rebirth of it never died, but the whole thing about trans people in sports. I've seen a lot of streamers pull up looking for like scientific studies to prove that that HRT doesn't work or it works. It makes it fair, unfair, and you have all these people that don't know how to read scientific studies trying to pretend that they can, just to push their agenda, right? And to pretend that whatever preconception they already have can be backed up by science, and it's something that's done ad hoc. You just like look for studies that back up your claim, right?
Right.
So first of all, there's just because it's something that trans people were very much invisible through history and on purpose, right? Mainstream science didn't do much to try to understand trans people in an honest way, and obviously most of science is downstream from culture, so it's just what we have. So the data that's out there about sports, endocrinology, all this, it's not very much compared to other fields, and whatever's out there, it actually leans towards HRT actually making it fair for whatever we think it's fair in sports right now due to our cultural proclivities. But what's actually really important to keep an eye on when you listen to people looking at these studies and all that is all scientific studies are put together is once you get results, you look at those results and you run statistics, and they tell you likelihood. What is the likelihood that these statistics are actually true? And then or that these likelihoods that these results are actually true. And then just arbitrarily, we have decided in science, just through convention, that if we find through whatever statistics we choose to run that we deem appropriate, if we find that there's less than a 5% chance that these things are false, then we decide, okay, that's significant, and the results of these experiments are significant. They're true. Do you follow?
Yeah, I'm trying.
So basically, we test something. I'm not going to talk about experimental design, but anyway, we just say if we find that there's a less than a 5% chance that what we found to be true in this study is actually false, then we say, okay, this is likely true. So when you look at all these people bringing up studies and talking about these things, it happens with COVID as well. You look at one study that measured something, ran these statistics, and they're like, okay, 5%, less than 5% chance that we actually fucked it up and randomly it happened to actually be an error, and this thing that we found to be true is actually not true. So okay, it's fine. But the truth is, that's kind of an alteration of what it was originally deemed to be the way to use this. The way that we should be using this is we run a study, we find our result, we found that, for example, trans women are women, as we know. Obviously, you can't really measure that well, but anyway. And then if there is a 5% chance that it actually there's less than a 5% chance that it's actually false, what we should be doing is say, this is an interesting result. Other people should repeat this experiment. And then after you do several experiments done by several people, then other researchers will put all those results together into what's called a systematic review or a meta-analysis. And then those are actually putting together all different experiments that were designed to be kind of the same thing. And then it summarizes all the results. And then finally, if you have enough data, you can say, this is what we find to be true. There's so many things that we don't know right now with medicine and science that there's just not enough data to have a real good idea of what's actually true or not, right? So what we see, especially with trans people in sports, and anything that it's like the newest thing that the right decides to do to fuck with people, we just haven't looked at it so much in the past. So all we have is individual studies, and so people can just pick and choose what study they want to look at. You know, I'm sure you've run into this with COVID, and we're just not there yet. So I mean, it's my opinion that we should err on the side of being kind to people and not, oppress them just in case. Maybe not oppress them just in case, right?
Right.
But yeah, anyone that tries to like pretend that they can use scientific literature to make a point about trans people in sports, they're kind of full of shit because we're just not there, They're just using it as an excuse to oppress people.
Right.
And the little studies that are out there, actually, the fact that it doesn't make a big difference to have trans women competing against other women. That's basically it.
Thank you for the call. Always a pleasure when you call in, Dr. Gus.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving us the lowdown in your area of expertise.
All right. Thanks for having me, Matt. Have
Always
a good night.
Pleasure. Good to obviously call their shit out when they try to use those sort of any sort of pseudo bullshit to back up their claims there. Ryan says Gus took a long time to explain margin of error, but he's right. LMAO. Super chats. Steven with a super chat. This is a super chat. Enjoy your super chat. Thank you, Steven. Zachamania with a super chat. Got a good Bitcoin mining store. Oh wait, my daughter's awake and she's upset. Let me see if give me 1 second to make sure she's okay. 2-year-old just woke up. Oh wait, no, her mom's there. All good. Zachamania with a super chat. Got a good Bitcoin mining story from here in Northeast Tennessee for you, Matt. Maybe for next scam economy. Google Bitcoin mining Unicoi County. Ooh, I'm gonna need to look that up. Obviously, I'm not gonna read it right now, but I'm gonna make sure I don't forget. Bitcoin mining. Writing it down. Thank you. Got another call. Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, man, what's going on? It's Omega.
Hey, Omega. What would you like to talk about?
Well, first of all, you made me even more bummed that I'm going to miss the Brooklyn show in person because of the fact that, granted, I got to go to a friend's show in Brooklyn and Sam was there and I got a selfie with him too. I am bummed that not only is 7M going to be there and the rest, but you too. It's like, damn, bro, that would have been perfect. But it's all good. It's all good.
I just realized you're on the. I just realized you got your video up. Do you want me to pull you up?
Yeah, sure. Hold on. All right.
I always got to make sure because some people don't. Like, look what happened with Grim earlier. He didn't want to be on the feed, so I always double check. All right. So yeah, you were. You went to the what is it? The Bituation room, right?
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
How was that?
Fran. Oh, it was actually quite fun. I got to like hang out with some of the people after, and like got to meet Fran and get a nice selfie and all that stuff. And then yeah, just got to chat with some of the people there. Some of them were nice. There was somebody there who made a Funko Pop of her,
Wow.
which is pretty cool. Yeah, really talented person. They're called Blue Lizard Guts. They're out here on they're out on Twitch though. So if y'all want to look her up, she's really talented. She's done Funko Pops of TYT people.
Where's the Majority Report crew Funko Pops? I need a Funko of me.
I don't know. Might have to hit her up on that. I don't know.
So what would you like to talk about? Oh, don't
well,
worry about not missing the show. There's gonna it's gonna be recorded. You'll be able to. I know it's not the same as being there, but what, you just can't make it?
Oh no, I just like couldn't get the tickets in time.
Message me if you want to go. I might be able to get you in.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll ping you on Twitter, but I'll tell you my Twitter handle through the chat after. So yeah, my thing is like, because I was seeing all this stuff about the swimmer, I saw just like some of the most vile like Twitter threads about it, about like people like, oh, you know how they're at 400 something, now they're at number one. It's like, this shit ain't fair. Blah 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 blah. It's like, look, it's like, this person is not trying to like, they keep trying to make it like, they literally kept going with that same talking about like, oh, they're trying to ace, just ace it with the women because they couldn't hack it with the men or whatever. And it's like, no, I don't think so. I think all these people, they just genuinely like, do they want to compete? Yes. But do they just enjoy it? Yeah. Because they wouldn't be putting themselves through it if they didn't enjoy it even a little bit. It's like the gratification of like playing it, I think, is good enough for them. And maybe they actually are pretty good, friends with the people that they compete with too. Hopefully, I don't know. But and I mean, there's even like I know of an athlete, I forgot her name, but she gets like her hormones are like she gets equal amounts of testosterone and estrogen in her system. I cannot remember her name though for the life of me, but maybe the chat knows, I'm not sure. But some people try to say some shit about her, and it's kind of like, it's a little fucked up. It's kind of like, can we just not be, hateful little shits? Like, I knew some trans people, like, before I even knew better. Like, I was cool with some trans people. I even went to Saturday school with a person who was a boy that was gay or whatever, and then they were of a different shape. But then when they grew older, they slimmed down, and then they used to just say, because now they're a woman, and they're like, oh, you might have known my brother and all this stuff or whatever, and all this other stuff. It's just like, just be nice to all these people. Like, just don't be dicks. And like, if they want to compete, they can compete or whatever. It's like, it's not our business what they want to do with their lives. It's not our business what they, if they feel different from how they were born. It's like,
I mean,
it's honest.
Again, though, we should really like hone in on like what the main issue is right now that they're saying, and that is the fact that they are saying that like this sports competition is being, but it's just not true. They literally have their one case right now with Leah Thomas. That's it. It's never been the case.
Yeah.
There's never been a case before Leah Thomas.
There was an MMA fighter too that was kind of like doing pretty good, but because I used to sadly listen to Joe Rogan or whatever before he went just way out there. But I mean, back when he still had Ben Shapiro trying to say like, I don't want to refer to you as that pronoun, and blah 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 blah, and all that other garbage. But yeah, he was bringing up that point. I was like, at first for a moment, but it's like, but after a point, you kind of snap out of it. It's like, no, that doesn't sound right. That like, I don't think I should be like judge, jury on all that shit with all these people, because that's another matter. It's like, it's honestly always like, all these things with the right wing or whatever. It's like a rotating door of like those issues like you would see in literal issues of X-Men comics. Is like, because everything, it's like, oh, like all these bills being passed. It's like, what, are we going to be Days of Future Past where people get branded like a letter on their face for whatever other thing? It's like, it's ridiculous. It's like, we don't need to do all that bullshit. Sorry.
Yeah, it's another. They don't got anything at this point, so they're just gonna rag on the most vulnerable population, and that's what
they're just buffering for time. Yeah. They're basically like in the game where they're running up the clock constantly, and they're just like, taking checks from all these crooked people, And then it's like all this stuff is happening in Texas, but they still haven't even bothered to try to touch anything regarding the power grid with all these people. I'm like, should another winter storm like that happen again? Are they going to still say the same bullshit and then act like people like don't remember? It's like that stuff's happening more frequently. All this other crap is happening more frequently. I mean, it's like you can't just ignore it and then act like it goes away, or like just take money and then just get paid to look the other way. It's like, come on.
All right. Thanks for the call. Always a pleasure when you call in. Let me know. Hit me up and let me see. It's because I might have an extra. I might have an extra ticket because my pops got one for me before knowing I was going to be on the show. So there you go.
Oh, yeah. Your dad seems very sweet. Also in the chat, he's a pretty chill dude. Hi, Ellen.
Oh wait, we just froze. Okay, hey, you there?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Was that it? Did you have anything else you wanted to bring up, or?
Oh, okay. Favorite Scott Hall moment.
Oh, dude, it's gotta. Oh, there's so many. Jeez. I mean, I gotta go with the infamous promo when he comes out of the crowd at WCW 96 with the you want a war. You got one.
I'm always a fan of like botch stuff, and this one kind of has a bit of darkness though because he was kind of a bit drunk during it. But when they were doing a spring break thing and they were just talking crap, and then they did a survey, and then it was like blah, 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 Giant, and then he gets on the mic and said, "Hey, Giant, that's your cue." I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, he messed that one up, but it's always hilarious. Anyways, yeah, rest in peace to the GOAT.
Yeah, he was one of my faves, really. It's too bad how quickly that it's a sad story too. How he his demons, and he came out of that, and then obviously I've heard he fell back in during the pandemic, but none of that even. I mean, I'm sure it weighed on his body, but that's hip surgery, fucking complications from a hip surgery. Let that be known how quickly that can. A
lot of wrestlers in general just get like the weirdest complications because they already beat their bodies up as it is,
Yeah. I'm gonna have to do a
I'll probably cosplay him.
I'll
probably cosplay him later this year too, probably because I got the hair for it. It's perfect.
Oh, that's true. I'm gonna have to do a wrestling show again. It's been a long time. Maybe even do a full blown wrestling stream. I'll let you guys know.
Maybe one after WrestleMania. Maybe.
There you go. That's a good idea. Have a great night, Omega. Always a pleasure.
Take care.
Peace. My dad's over here telling me in the chat which tickets we're giving away. We got an extra ticket. I can let you know we got an extra ticket, Pops, because I have a +1 at the door that I've given to to give to the fam. So we have an extra ticket. Wait, Kowalski, you got tickets for the show? Kowalski, you got 6 tickets? Oh, no, 3. But you got 3 tickets? Where did I see 6? Someone messed with my mind. What? You got 3 tickets? Why you got 3 tickets to the? Did you mean to go? Message me, Kowalski, and let's see if you. Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, I'm Joey from South Carolina.
Hey, Joey from South Carolina. Would you like me to? I see you got a webcam. Would you like me to pull you into the stream?
Sure.
Cool. Always make sure people want to do that. What would you like to talk about?
All right. So I'm not sure if you would want to get into this, but it's kind of an completely off the topic question.
I just want to add, of course, when I ask you to pull you into the video stream, that's when your video stream completely stalls and it's frozen
awesome.
right now. You want me to? Let me hang up on you and call you right back. That'll fix it.
Okay.
Bloop bloop bloop.
Yeah, I think my camera just died, so.
Oh, that's what it is. All right, so I'll just pull up it happens. What could you do? So what did you talk about? We could go off on a tangent, and if it's something that should be saved for another show, we can cut it short, and if it's good, we can go on.
Yeah, so here shortly, I will be starting my own YouTube show, and I have a couple questions about some of the behind the scenes logistics, if you would want to get into that.
Sure. We could do it really quick, and if you got further questions or need more detail, we can do that at a later date or off the feed, off the show.
Okay, so obviously you use Skype for this type of stuff. Now, as far as like the actual production side of things, you just use OBS or?
I use the reason I use Skype is because the streaming software I use, Ecamm Live, it's for Mac only. It basically has like a built-in Skype, I guess, plugin where that's why I use Skype, because they make it really easy. I literally just have to click a button, and it brings in the Skype feed to the live stream. Can you make that happen in OBS? Sure, but you also have to like bring in the audio separately and all that fun stuff. This literally, I just press a button and everything is just set up.
Right. Yeah. That's my thing is I plan to do some sort of like panel show or multiple guests, and I'm looking for more of ease of bringing in multiple guests, rotating through them and stuff.
One thing you might be able to look into for that is like a web-based streaming software like Restream or Melon. StreamYard's another one. They make that really easy, where you basically, like, I don't use that. Maybe I should if I ever do a bunch of guests at once. For just like the one-on-one interviews I do, this works for me. But those platforms help you basically. You could send a link to a bunch of people. They all click that link. They go into like a waiting room, and you could bring them in like to the feed there. Like they get to watch the show too while they're in the waiting room. And you can basically, I think, like up to like 8 or 9 or 10 people at a time, like on air live if you want.
Okay, it's pretty cool. I'll have to definitely look into that. All right, and then last thing I'll mention is here in South Carolina, we now have 3 Starbucks that are looking to unionize, and shout out to them.
Oh, I like to hear that. Yeah, shout out to them. I hope they hope their unionization drive goes well.
Yep. All right, man. Take care.
Thanks for the call and good luck on the show. And let me know when it's up and running. You definitely got the setup. I saw you look like a pro with the microphone and then the nice cam setup. But make sure that camera is charged so it doesn't die when you're doing your streams.
Yeah. I need to do that. Yep.
You have to get because I'm assuming due to the based on the quality, you're using like a DSLR or a mirrorless.
It's actually a cinematic camera, but
are you using the Blackmagic Pocket?
No.
Which one are you using?
It's a Canon XA10.
Canon XA10. Oh, I got a Canon
it's
XA10.
Couple years older.
Do you have it? Oh, like old. I didn't realize. Oh, okay. Like the real deal, like camcorder camera. All right, nice. Do you have using like an internal battery, or you have like a one that plugs into the outlet?
Yeah, I have a power adapter. What really happened is my what do you call it? Capture card just like freaked out.
What are you using? Using Elgato?
No, it's an EVGA XR1.
Oh, okay. No idea. But the Elgato cam link's really good if you need that. That's what I use. I could vouch for that. That's never happened with my stream because it works. Maybe yours was just a one-time issue. I don't know, but
yeah, I haven't had any issues with it yet, so wasn't too happy that happened, but whatever.
Well, everyone's got tech issues, and now as I'm boasting over here, watch, everything's gonna shut down. I'm gonna lose power and everything. Thanks for the call, though. Yep. Pleasure to help, and let me know when this show's up, and I'll check it out.
All right, will do. Thanks.
Take care. We had a bunch of calls coming just that very moment. Maybe I'll take one more if you call in right now because I want to get to a video here. Oh, also, people have been sending me, asking me about. Do I want to go? I don't want to go into this now, but I'll bring it up maybe in another episode. I'll take a look at it because let me take this call first. Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from?
fuck's going on?
Oh, wait. Hey, you're a little bit lagging in the audio and the video, so I couldn't. Uh, Uh-oh. I don't hear you at all right now. Let me hang up, call right back. I'll call you back. Let me hang up on you and I'll call you back. Sometimes there's these weird glitches. You never know. Never know. Hey. I'm not hearing you now at all. Check your input settings. Check your input settings. On Skype. All right, I'm gonna hang up on you. I'll take your call if you're able to figure it out. Oh, well. All right, so what I was saying was I've had people ask me what I thought about Ben Burgess on Joe Rogan. I got another call. I'll get to that in 1 second. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello.
Hey, who's this?
It's actually a cinematic camera.
Hello? You have to listen to the we're having problems here. Hello?
Hello.
Hello? Something's going on. It's not on my end though. I could tell.
Hello.
I gotta hang up.
This is Spacco.
Oh, hello. You hear me?
I'm off the grid.
Oh, hey, Spacco. He's listening to the show, I think, and that's why. All right, I got to cut there. Sorry, Spacco. This is the voice of Scam Economy too, by the way. The intro. You're listening to. Oh man. I think I might have to cut the. I'll try one more time here. Hello? Hello?
Okay, this time for sure.
Hey, can you hear me? No, something's not working here, and it's not.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It doesn't look
okay,
like
now I can hear you.
Okay,
All right.
great. Hey, Spacco, what would you talk about?
Well, thanks for taking my call. I was very frustrated today. I was going through a lot of work issue, which you and I have talked about before, which is the various different ways that people get death threats, intimidation online.
Mm-hmm.
And right. I've been working on a piece for a while. By the way, did you see the article that was in the New York Times, which is America has a free...
I did not read the editorial, like from the editorial board.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to read all of it, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
So, into the where I really feel like there is a way that people, back up a little bit. People who don't know me, one of the big things about and had a whole plan for was violent rhetoric coming out of right-wing media. And I developed an entire program that helped defund right-wing media by contacting the advertisers and say, we don't want to tell them, you advertisers, you shouldn't associate your brand with this violent rhetoric. And because of the way that I did it, it wasn't a case of, restricting anybody's speech, any sort of, etc. But it defunded them, and it really hurt. And part was that I so now in ways help people threatened, intimidated, and harassed online. And one of the groups with is trying to do the people who are in the public health industry. And the public health officials, there was just a report that came out from the Johns Hopkins and Bloomberg Public Health Law that talked about the massive harassment that happened of public health officials. They had like 1,500 unique cases from March 2020 to January 21st. 225 officials left their roles. 36% experienced some harassment. And this one was interesting. 194 out of the 296 incidents originated on social media.
Spocko, I hate to cut you off, but apparently I hear you fine, but it's not working for the audience for some reason. I'm not sure why. So I think I'm gonna have to. I don't know what's going on. Like I said, I just jinxed myself when I was talking about how great it sounded before. But we're gonna have to probably. Can you call back next week?
Yeah. I've got some more stuff that I'm working on about this, and I'll focus it a little bit more specifically on this. But I just wanted to bring it up as a new area of interest. But I'll talk to you about it next week. Thanks.
Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Everyone's saying that the sound cleared up. What the? Oh, my God. Oh, it wasn't bad at all for me, which is weird. I don't know what happened. That's why I wasn't even sure what you guys were talking about. So I assume that. Are you guys that far behind? That's the issue. You guys heard the previous when I had to hang up on him. Oh my God. Oh my God. I didn't realize you're like a full like 5 minutes behind. I thought maybe like a minute or two. Not even. All right, we'll have to. That's pretty funny though. All right, so everyone was. Wait, who said what? I called out Nomiki. When did I call out Nomiki? Someone. Tarkov Survivor. Yo, Mr. Binder, I saw that you called Nomiki out. Well done, son. I did? I haven't said anything about Nomiki in quite some time. I don't even know why I would call her out. What's she been saying? Do I have to call her out? Uh-oh. Oh, looks like, did you confuse me with the other Matt? Matt Leck? That's... Oh my God. Yeah, I didn't call it anybody recently. No, that's not true. I didn't call it anybody that would cause some sort of I don't know, controversy. Cameron says, dude, you destroyed Nomiki. That's what I do. I'm so good at this now, I don't even know who I'm destroying. What did Nomiki say? Should I have a problem with Nomiki? I'm going to see her on Saturday. Am I going to have to duke it out with her there at the Majority Report Live in Brooklyn? I have to... With Nomiki? Hugo says, drop a diss track. Oh. Yo, Nomiki. You're really getting cheeky. Oh boy, that was really bad. I shouldn't even... Anyway. Oh, Leo Prox, right. Back to Burgess and Rogan. I don't want to go too into it now. Because I haven't watched anything but 2 clips, I think. One was the Michael thing, which basically made it completely worth it for me. So I enjoyed hearing Rogan talk about Michael Brooks very much. Also made me a little bit angry that he knew who he was quite clearly. I mean, I knew before that, but that conversation made it even clearer just how much he knew about Michael. And didn't even discuss why he didn't have, and Burgess didn't press either. Why didn't you have Michael on? Why? You said it yourself. What a smart guy, what a funny guy. So even if you weren't into his politics, he would have fit the usual comedians you have on the show. You guys could have shot the shit with your little with Michael's hilarious impersonations. Like Renee's saying, Michael Roberts, right? When Rogan called him Michael Roberts accidentally years ago. Why not? Why not bring it up? I would have. I would have said, I'm really happy to see that you were such a fan. Michael really liked you. He was a fan of you as well. I gotta ask though, why never have him on? You don't gotta even be a dick about it. Why never have him on? I want to hear what Rogan would have said. Oh, did you plan to have him on? That's probably what it is said. I'm just, oh, I was going to invite him, but I mean, you could have, but he didn't. There's plenty of time to invite him. So my take on Burgess, without listening to it, if you guys really want me to, send me the parts of the show you want me to listen to, and I will watch those on stream and we'll look over it. I don't really know Ben. That's the one weird thing about my relationship with Michael. Those friends of his from that era never really mingled with me. In fact, the first time really having any interaction with them, it was at when I was on Michael Brooks Show Live, February 2020 in Brooklyn. Same venue I'm going to be at Saturday. I was a guest a few times on the Michael Brooks Show, but most of my interaction with Michael was on the Majority Report. But what I will say is that I am shocked. And this did, let's put it this way, this did make me rethink some of my thoughts about leftists going on Rogan. I'm still for it generally, but I did think what the cost-benefit analysis is a little bit more. When I saw just how, and this isn't an attack on Burgess, this is just true facts here. This isn't saying anything about Burgess. I haven't watched the thing. People ask me what I thought about it. I don't listen to Rogan. Other than, well, actually, I do listen to Rogan. I listen to Rogan when there's someone on the right on the show and I want to hear what conspiracy theories are being pushed. But when like other people on the show, I don't listen. In fact, the last time I listened, I forget his name now, but the former British radio host who's out there spreading COVID conspiracy theories. That's the last Rogan episode I listened to, I think, because I needed to listen to what this guy was saying about like the Great Reset and stuff. But here's my thoughts about this. Ponderous Pine says, Matt Allen's the right wing guest on Rogan. Binder, right? I mean, they're all. I don't listen to his comedic guests and things like that. You know, the UFC guys. I don't listen to that either. I was shocked about how little Ben Burgess got out of going on Rogan. I thought for sure he would go on that show, and regardless of how it went, there would be some benefit to his general presence and career, quite frankly. I thought he would gain a new audience. I thought you would see that represented in his online followers and his patrons, there was nothing. Nothing. It actually shocked me. Because say what you will about Rogan, he undoubtedly brings a huge audience to whoever he has on the show. So I was very surprised at that. And it made me recalculate the idea that there are a broad swath of Rogan fans who are open to hearing anything. Because Burgess was on there and he didn't get anything out of it from my perspective. Shadowman says nobody's going to convert any of Rogan's followers. Yeah, I didn't think there'd be a conversion. Rogan's got a huge audience. I thought, ostensibly, we hear that he has an audience of all across the spectrum. I thought, ostensibly, a portion of that audience, it might be obviously smaller than the people who lean right, but ostensibly there is a portion of his audience that is more open to center-left to left-wing ideals. And nothing. Diego says he did such a poor performance. I have to watch. I don't want to say anything yet. But I mean, maybe that explains it, that the performance wasn't good. I don't know. Hugo says Rogan has definitely lost a lot of fans. That's another thing. I wonder exactly what his audience still is. I mean, it's obviously still huge. But just how much did he lose by going to Spotify and then taking this turn with COVID? It's got to have been something. Renee says, was Bernie going on Rogan useful other than blow up a fascist? I mean, I don't think Bernie did anything for Rogan, to be quite frank. It's possible Rogan did something for Bernie. Wasn't enough. Genji Beat says, also the Joe Rogan bump isn't the same anymore. Right, but there is still something ostensibly, right? I keep saying ostensibly. There is still something there, though. He's got a huge audience. There should be somewhat of a bump. Maybe it's not as massive. Maybe it doesn't mean your book's going to become a bestseller. Maybe it's not going to turn you into an instant e-celeb anymore. But I was into, when he said he was going to go on Rogan, I was like, oh, I'm just going to like make a mental note of what his follower count is, where his patrons are at. Not to anything judging Ben Burgess, just for the idea of a leftist or someone who is on the left going on Rogan's show. I wanted to see how much that would do. It was minuscule. Nowhere near what I thought was going to happen. I thought Ben Burgess was about to blow up. And good for him if it did. I'm not saying that in any way. Again, I'm not putting on any sort of, I'm going to save any sort of shit talk or criticism I have for when I actually watch it on the show with you guys. But straight up, facts only, looking at the numbers, I was dumbfounded. Take It Easy says, his brand grew. His name was on every news show on earth. Who? Burgess? Saeed says, just because the audience is big, it doesn't mean it's diverse. Right, but if your audience is so big, and the claim is that you are not a specific show, in this example, a right-wing show which means your audience should not be all right-wingers, even if it's most. Again, if you got millions and millions of listeners, even 1% of your listener base would be huge. 0.1% of your listener base would be huge. Could totally change the trajectory of whatever the career is of your guest. If even a point percentage of your millions of listeners go on to check out your guest and support that guest. Bestcams.fun/hot girls and boys video chat says, kissy face emoji, hearts emoji, check my... Oh, wait, this is a spam. No, I'm joking. I knew it was, but I thought it'd be funny to actually read it. You can block the spammer, by the way, mods. I'm open to anyone talking in the chat, but not spams. Bullshit. James says, Rogan's audience has to be pretty well sorted at this point. Burgess is also very hard to listen to and not compelling outside of his very niche. Right. Super chats. And then I want to do one clip, and then that's the show. Renee says, spleen or inu, or should I find a Russian word? Matt Binder going on Howard Stern anytime soon? I would go on Howard Stern's show. Again, not the same show as it was, but it's Howard's. I'll go on Rogan's show. Listen, I've always said I have no problem going on any show. Just like I have no problem having anyone on this show. To me, the point is what you do on those shows. I'm not even saying be a dick or ruin the show. That's not what I would do. I would take the opportunity very seriously. I think it's important. That's why I'm sort of wondering what happened with the Burgess Rogan appearance. It didn't even look like he got like any engagement either from like the right-wing Rogan people. Like I looked, it was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen when it comes to like what I expected and what I saw. Because usually I got a pretty good gauge for that type of stuff. I don't set high expectations for something that shouldn't have high expectations. Fede or Fede said, the super chat, the real problem in U.S. sports is rich kids that get sent to training camps and take the top spots from kids with more potential that can't afford it. Great point. But they don't have a problem with that. They don't have a problem with that. Thank you. Thank you, Kowalski, for the super sticker. Eminent Professor says, I listened to the entire Rogan show with Ben Burgess. Ben came through as a very normal person having a normal conversation with Rogan, but I don't know if that moved people to the left or whatever. He would probably need to appear on there a few more times for traction. All right. Dan RK says, what do you think about Ring of Honor being bought by AEW? I think that's good. That was great. That's awesome. Very smart move for AEW to do. Omega says, with a super chat, Rogan looking more busted was an omen of his grift. I'll have to listen to it. But a few people asked me, so I wanted to get that out there. My generic thoughts, my general thoughts, I should say, not my generic thoughts. All right, let's play this clip, and then that's the show. I'm gonna hang up Skype. All right, let's do this because this is. Let me set it up. Oh no, don't want this. No, definitely don't want this. It's caused me enough problems. All right, let's do this. This is something else. All right, let me pull this up. Give me 1 second. I need to just pull up the sound here. All right. Okay, here we go. So this guy right here, let me read. Where am I pointing? All right, no, this way. All right. So this guy right here is Senator Mike Braun of Indiana. He's a U.S. senator, and during a call with media today, he was asked a few questions about the Supreme Court. Today was the second day of Biden's Supreme Court justice nominee being questioned by the Senate. Senator Braun was not one of the senators in that committee who gets to question the Supreme Court justice nominee, but I guess he wanted to share his thoughts during this media call, and he was taking questions, and most of the questions were around that. And we do have a quite frankly historical nominee who would be the first ever black woman on the Supreme Court. And Mike Braun wanted to say a few things about it, and so here he is being questioned, and he really gets himself in a real problem here. Really caught up, got himself caught in a real web of not lies, just a web of buffoonery, I guess you can say, a web of racism. Let's play this clip now.
Hey, Senator. You spoke about judicial activism. If the Supreme Court later this year strikes down the right to abortion, would you consider that to be judicial activism, legislating from the bench?
I consider it to have been judicial activism when it occurred back almost 50 years ago. So I think this would be bringing it back to a neutral point to where that issue should have never been federalized. Way out of sync, I think, with the contour of America then. And this basically puts it back to a point where, like most of these issues.
All right, so to be clear here, just to let you all know what he's talking about, Senator Braun is making the argument for states' rights, yada, 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 you know the drill. He doesn't think the Supreme Court should be laying down the law of the land at a federal level for a number of the issues we're about to get into, and boy, will we get into one. Let's keep going, but I just wanted to let you guys know what the general the gist of this situation is here, where the argument Braun is making, and he's really gonna step in it, folks.
Where one side of the aisle wants to homogenize it federally, is not the right way to do it. This should be something where the expression of individual states are able to weigh in on these issues through their own legislation, through their own court systems. Quit trying to put the federal government in charge of not only things like we did navigating through COVID recently, where I think that was misguided, but in general. So no, I think this takes it back to a point where it should have never gotten beyond in the first place.
That same basis to something like Loving versus Virginia, the Supreme Court case that legalized interracial marriage.
So when it comes to issues, you can't have it both ways. When you want that diversity to shine within our federal system, there are going to be rules and proceedings. They're going to be out of sync with maybe what other states would do. It's the beauty of the system, and that's where the differences among points of view in our 50 states ought to express themselves. And I'm not saying that rule would apply in general, depending on the topic, but it should mostly be in general, because it's hard to have it on issues that you just are interested in when you deny it for others with a different point of view.
So you would be okay with the Supreme Court leaving the question of interracial marriage to the states?
Yes, I think that that's something that if you're not wanting the Supreme Court to weigh in on issues like that, you're not going to be able to have your cake and eat it too. I think that's hypocritical.
What about Griswold versus Connecticut?
Well, you can list a whole host of issues. When it comes down to whatever they are, I'm going to say that they're not going to all make you happy within a given state, but that we're better off having states manifest their points of view rather than homogenizing it across the country as Roe versus Wade did.
So there you have it. March 2022. A sitting U.S. senator comes out against interracial marriages, saying that it should be left up to the states to decide. Something like 11% of all marriages in this country are interracial. This is not surprising, but it's something else too. It's very much, jeez. Now, Senator Braun realized he stepped in it. And, I was saying stepped in it to be funny, but I want to be clear. I don't think he stepped in it. I think he strutted into it. Because stepping in it makes it seem like he just sort of like tripped and, stumbled his way upon saying this. No, I think he really knew what he was saying. He's claiming he didn't because he put out a statement later. In a written statement to media a few hours later after this media call, he said, "Earlier during a virtual press conference, I misunderstood a line of questioning that ended up being about interracial marriage. Let me be clear on that issue. There is no question the Constitution there's no question the Constitution prohibits discrimination of any kind based on race. That is not something that is even up for debate, and I condemn racism in any form at all levels and by any states, entities, or individuals." So his claim is, I misunderstood a line of questioning. To that, I say, bullshit. Bullshit you did. Come on. It was said to you twice. Let's go back and listen to that again. Not the whole thing. We're not going to listen to the whole thing, but let's go back and hear this twice.
Point where states legislation navigating through general. So no, I point where
that same basis to something like Loving versus Virginia, the Supreme Court case that legalized interracial marriage.
That's one.
So when it comes to issues, you can't have it both ways. When you
and then
you just are interested in, when you deny it for others with the
Supreme Court leaving the question of interracial marriage to the states
twice, and this one is a very much yes to that. He says,
yes, I think that.
I mean, also, his entire argument also puts into question the idea of, does it matter if he misunderstood it or not? He's claiming, let's listen to him here again.
That's something that if you're not wanting the Supreme Court to weigh in on issues like that, you're not going to be able to have your cake and eat it too. I think that's hypocritical.
There you go. I mean, it doesn't matter. His point is, the Supreme Court should not be weighing in on any of these issues, right? This should all be left up to the states, right? Whether a consenting couple can use contraception. That was one of the cases brought up. The interracial marriage case. I forget what the first one was. We should go back and listen really quick.
Hey, Senator. You spoke about judicial activism. If the Supreme Court later this year strikes down the right to abortion, would you consider that to be judicial activism, legislating from the bench?
So there you have it. Contraception, abortion, interracial marriage. He's saying all those issues, no, those aren't issues that should be up to the state. Anything between anything that allows an adult to have control over their life, over their body, over their choices and decisions, it doesn't affect anybody else. I mean, it's bizarre that he's even pretending that that's even matters, because his whole line of thinking doesn't matter if he misunderstood it or not. Because what was it that he thought they were talking about? Gay marriage? Because then how would that be any different? How would same-sex marriage be more in line with the contraception or abortion question? No, it would be more in line with the interracial marriage question. Christ. As Susan in the chat says, what the fuck is SCOTUS for then? Right. Jeez. All right, folks. Let's read this last chat here. Let me pull me up on the stream. This one comes from bestcams.fun, hot girls and boys video chat. Heart emoji, kiss face emoji, crazy face emoji, heart emoji, thumbs up emoji. Oh, it's spam again. All right, folks, that is the that is the show. Oh, we got some Twitch joiners. Twitch, subscribers, I should say. Tiny Panda 3, thank you so much. Tim Bob, thank you so much. Nug Wrangler, thank you so much. Thank you for becoming Twitch Prime subscribers. Tim Bob with the 4-month subscription. Whoa, Nug Wrangler's been subscribed for 5 months in a row. Thank you also. Tiny Panda 3 months in a row. Thank you all so much. It's easy peasy, easy as that, right? All right, folks. I will see you. Patreon.com/MattBinder. Please, if you can. Always appreciate the support. Leave an iTunes, Apple Podcasts review, Spotify review. Again, patreon.com/MattBinder. For Twitch people, who should I raid? I want to raid somebody. I want to raid somebody new. Who should I raid? Give me someone to raid. I really need to follow more people on Twitch so I know who to raid. Raid Pokey man. All right, yeah, I'm sure they really will appreciate it. Let's Colt Dog says Amy EC3. I always raid Amy EC3. I'm not saying I'm against it. I think Amy EC3 is great. I just want to raid someone new. Share the love, you know what I mean? Dylan. Is he on now? He's got a lot of people on. I'll raid him. I'll raid Dylan Burns. Let's do it. It's gonna be a blip for him, but I spoke with him once on Humanist Report's panel show. So let's do it. He's a good guy. All right, folks, that is the show. See you all next time. Oh yeah, be sure to tune in to Scam Economy this week, and I'll see you all next time on Doomed.